In the unforgiving Nevada Territory of 1876, Tessa Kingston risks everything to keep her father's general store alive, until ruthless raiders ambush her on a lonely desert road. Fighting for her life, she refuses to surrender, unaware that a lone rider is racing toward her fate. Brock Xavier's arrival turns terror into survival, but their encounter marks only the beginning. As danger lingers and hardship tightens its grip, two wounded souls are drawn together by courage, loss, and quiet determination. This is a story of survival, frontier resilience, and a love forged in the most perilous of beginnings. In the Nevada Territory of 1876, survival demanded courage, grit, and a steady hand, qualities Tessa Kingston possessed in abundance. At 22, she had already shouldered responsibilities most women never faced. Her mother had died years earlier, and her father's failing health left Tessa running the general store that supplied miners, ranchers, and travelers scattered across the rugged high desert. When supplies ran low, she didn't hesitate to load a wagon and make the journey herself, despite the dangers whispered about along the trade routes. The afternoon the raiders came, the sky burned copper with the promise of a coming storm. Tessa urged her horses forward, eager to reach home before nightfall. She never saw the men until it was too late. They emerged from the rocks like shadows, 3 of them, armed and grinning, circling her wagon with predatory confidence. One grabbed the reins, another leapt onto the wagon, and the third laughed as though terror were a sport. Tessa fought back with everything she had, swinging her whip, kicking, screaming, but desperation alone was no match for cruelty. Just as one of the men raised his rifle but, a thunder of hooves shattered the moment. Brock Xavier rode in like a force of nature. He fired once, twice, each shot precise and final. The raiders scattered, leaving behind dust, blood, and silence. Brock dismounted, his tall frame casting a shadow over the wreckage, his eyes sharp but steady as he approached her. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Tessa's hands trembled as she shook her head. Shock stole her voice, but relief flooded her chest. Brock helped her down, checked the horses, and stayed close until her breathing steadied. He escorted her home that night, refusing payment, explaining only that he had once lost someone to men like those, and wouldn't allow it again. From that day forward, Brock became a quiet presence in Tessa's life. He helped repair the wagon, delivered supplies when the roads were dangerous, and stood watch when rumors of raiders spread through town. Brock was a man shaped by hardship, an orphan who had carved out a living through ranching and freight work, but beneath his rough exterior was a deep sense of loyalty and honor. As weeks turned into months, trust grew between them. Tessa shared her worries about the store, her fear of losing the only legacy her parents had left her. Brock listened without judgment, offering support instead of solutions. When her father passed peacefully one winter night, it was Brock who stood beside her, steady and silent, as she faced her grief. Together, they rebuilt. Brock invested his savings into the general store, helping Tessa expand it into a full mercantile, stocked with tools, fabric, food, and hope. Where once there had been barely enough to survive, prosperity slowly took root. The Mercantile became the heart of the settlement, a place of trade, warmth, and community. Love crept in quietly, the way it often does between people who work side by side. It grew in shared glances, in the way Brock always stood between Tessa and danger, in the way she believed in him without question. When he finally asked her to marry him, it wasn't with grand speeches, just a simple promise to stand with her through whatever the frontier demanded next. Their marriage was held beneath an open sky, attended by townsfolk whose lives they had touched. Over the years, the Mercantile thrived, children filled the rooms above the store with laughter, and the fear that once defined Tessa's world faded into memory. What began with violence and uncertainty became a life rooted in partnership, love, and resilience. In a land that tested every soul who dared settle it, Tessa Kingston and Brock Xavier proved that even the harshest beginnings could lead to a future rich with purpose. And a family strong enough to endure anything the frontier could bring.